All three of our children are adopted. Shortly after we were married, we found out we could not have our own biological children, which was devastating. A couple of years later, went through the adoption process and were matched with Ethan and Emrys. When the twins were younger, we noticed that Ethan was a little bit slower in doing things. His speech wasn't as developed as his twin sister. He was diagnosed with a speech disorder and also with ADHD. As he got older, the sensory issues became more apparent and he was angry about different things.
How you could have all that and not have an effect. You lose time for friends, you lose time for your own activities, you lose time for being partners. There's only so many hours in the day, and I don't know, it's a difficult challenge to cover.
So we were going through all of the treatments and all of the things with the kids, trying to get them on track. One day at the doctor, they had a sign up for mammograms and on the little bus that comes around. And I thought, oh, well, I think I missed it actually last fall. So I'll just do it now. It was May. Sitting there kind of alone in this area because it was under renovations and in a gown just waiting for the ultrasound to happen. And I get back there and then I saw the one that he just kept measuring, and you hear the clicks and a remeasure and a click and a remeasure. And I thought to myself, this is not good. I got Brian on the phone and I don't remember anything except you have cancer. It is invasive mammary carcinoma.
Her strength has been second to none, from deciding to work from home and managing everything. She went to the part of, she made a survival binder. Should X, Y, Z happen, here are the kids' meds, doctor's appointments.
Phone numbers.
Yeah, literally, it's a survival binder.
Friends' phone numbers, because that's what I deal with, and it would be a lot to try to figure out should something happen to me. And it's like I actually titled it Survival Guide for E cubed, because we have 3 kids that start with an E.
Yeah. And I was trying to help out fill medicine one night, and I actually went and got it. It's like, okay, Ethan gets this, and like filling out the pill containers and stuff.
With Edric, we went to his doctor, got the appointment at Children's, went down for cardiology, pulmonology, all the tests. And in the end, they thought he does have a lot of characteristics of Marfan's, which is a connective tissue disorder. Well, that came back with a phone call a couple of weeks later. She said he came back with a variant of Louise-Dietz syndrome. So she started explaining it. And it's a lot like Marfan's and Ehlers-Danlos, which are both connective tissue disorders, but it affects people differently. She said the main difference is that it affects his aorta. And I said, so what are his chances of having an aortic aneurysm or dissection? And she said, well, it's not really a matter of chance, it's a matter of when.
You kind of felt numb to it in a way. It sounds terrible, but I know it's not just one more thing, but it was, okay, now we deal with this. Just like, okay, Ethan has allergies. Okay, we'll put that in the box. Okay, now Emrys has this. Okay, we'll write that down.
My cancer journey, as everyone may know, everyone's is different. Like every child is different. I consider a gift of God that I went early and got it checked or had my mammogram before I was supposed to. That it was caught. It very well would have been a lot bigger in the fall had I had gone in the fall, and probably involved chemotherapy. Like 3 years and 11 months left. So it's a long road ahead, but it's also causing some numbers to go up in my body in my blood work. So we'll see. Maybe I will move to a different approach. I have some appointments coming up, and we'll see what all of the different specialists say once they work together and see how my body's reacting to this. I had heard about PAWS initially from another twin mom friend that I had. And finally, I don't know why it took me so long, I guess probably shame, because there was a lot of shame, like when you can't help your child. we came for the first event. As we left, our daughter, she said, "Mom, there's other kids like me." And she was surprised. Like, she thought she was the only one in the world that struggled. And she said, "I met another little girl who has trouble writing and reading. And some of them are also like really crazy and don't sit down like me." Our youngest, one night, I was putting him in bed and he does bedtime stories. And he said, "Tell me a story about my best day ever." So I said, "Okay, well, we're all getting in the car today, Mom, Dad, Ethan, Emrys, and Edric, and we're going to the ocean." He sat up and said, "No, I'm going to pause and I get to pick the room I get to go in." And I just thought that was so awesome. It had been months.
There's no expectation, there's no embarrassment, there's no risk. The volunteers at Pause, they're meeting the kids where they are. They're providing the safe spaces. Emrys, she can come and do crafts, and Edric running from station to station to station. And Ethan, he has a buddy and Ethan could just look at that person with adoration and follow them around, and that person's going to be there for him all night long with no judgment. And it helps bring you out of that self-imposed isolation, that self-exile of, oh, there's other people here. Like, oh, those kids are similar, or these parents, you have that common ground, that common point of contact.
On one particular Thrive night about a year ago, I sat down at the table and I received this. We had to use a black light to see it. It says, "I am beautiful." And to see this at my place after struggling for months with everything that my body had been through, with feeling completely ugly with more scars added to my body. Like, I know it wasn't just put there. I know that I was meant to sit there, and this message was given to me for a reason. Okay, like, I think I'm getting the message that I am beautiful and I am loved, and like, my husband loves me, my kids love me, even if sometimes too much.
So we developed Thrive Night as a way for caregivers to connect with each other. One thing that we know about special needs families is that they struggle with isolation. They're spending 30 to 60 extra hours a week in care alone for their kiddos, and so making those connections and keeping relationships can often be a struggle. So Thrive Night is one of those events where kids get to come and be with their volunteer buddies and get poured into from them. But for these events, parents stay and they receive their own programming. Part of that programming is having dinner, doing something fun together where they can laugh, and then they go to their breakout sessions where they gain tools and resources and education for how to better raise their kiddos. And one of the things about Thrive Night that I love so much is that we're super intentional about where we place families and how they're seated. We gather them based on their neighborhood, or maybe their child's diagnosis, or maybe their age. And so every seat is intentional. And what I remember about this Thrive Night in particular is that we had some cancellations last minute. And so there was a team member and I that sat in a room and we were trying to figure out how those cancellations affected the seating that we've been so intentional about. And at one point we looked at each other and we said, you know what, we have to blow this all up. We have to start from square one, and we did. And what's ironic about that is that the room was already set. Those messages at the tables for each individual participant were already placed. And when we decided to blow it all up, it meant everybody got a new seat. And while I would love to say that it was by accident that Beth sat at that particular seat she sat in, it absolutely was no mistake.